Ruslan.
The question about contentment, because I went through this period where it's like I wanted to quit. I just wanted to go full into the music, and like basically my dad had to like talk me off of a cliff because like I was ready to like, I need to do this full time. If I'm not doing the music full time, that I won't make it. But then like after my dad like spoke to me, he was like, hey, having a job, especially the job I have, like I work in the film industry, and you know he was just saying like, you have you're in a really good position right now because you have money coming in so that you can invest into your music.
Come on.
You can do it. So I just wanted to like a quick question on like, how do you deal with contentment in the season that you're in right now as opposed to where you want to be?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna always take it back to the scriptures, right? So 1 Timothy 6, verse 6, godliness with contentment is great gain, right? Godliness with contentment is great gain. So if we're talking contentment, there's a thing inside of us, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, where we're stirred up and we're in the next season, right? We're wrapped in the next season, and that can rob us of our contentment of this season, right? To be faithful in this season. And so godliness with contentment is great gain. So what is godliness? Like, what is godly behavior, right? When we have godly behavior, when we have behavior that's reflective of the person of Jesus, when we package that with contentment, and then I'll read the rest of the passage for you. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root to all kinds of evil. Some people eager to make money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And I want to find this other passage. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and trap into many foolish and harmful desires and plunge into ruin and destruction. And it says, for the love of money is a root to all kinds of people. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Now check how this is juxtaposed with Proverbs 13:11, where it says, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers little by little, whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow, right? So if you're trying to get rich quick, if you're trying to make a lot of money really fast, if you're trying to land in that job position and you're forcing it, or you're trying to produce fruit out of season, usually that's not going to lead you into the place you want to be in the first place, right? Meaning that you taking the shortcut or you rushing something is actually going to be counterintuitive, right? But this idea of whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow, right? And so whether it's literally saving for money, incremental saving, and it compounds over time, or it's building your career little by little, if you do it little by little, piece by piece, small, consistent growth every single day, every single week, delivering stuff just like you did with your a beat a day challenge, right? You did a beat a day, you dropped a beat, right? Little by little incremental commitments, over time, it'll grow, right? Little by little, it'll grow. The New Living Translation reads it like this, Proverbs 13:11. Wealth from get rich quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. Some people approach music or YouTube or whatever, and I'm not saying you do okay hip hop, but some people approach it like a get rich quick scheme. Like they think that like, this is my out from not having to work hard. And it's actually the opposite, right? The opposite is true. You doing music, you doing beats, you actually got to work harder. And then when you finally get to a place of making a full-time income, you realize that it's actually more pressure to maintain it and sustain it and to grow it, because there's more risk. There's no safety net, right? But it's all about that little by little. So contentment, I think, is one of those things where you have to focus on the day-to-day, the grind of the little by little. I remember reading Screw Tape Letters, and I don't mean to over-spiritualize this, right? Because I don't know how literal this is, but in Screw Tape Letters, which is a book by C.S. Lewis. It's about these two demons writing back and forth to each other. Again, this is not like as theological as more so the principle. But these two demons are writing back and forth to each other. And it said that one of the tactics the enemy tries to use is one of two tactics. He either tries to keep people so wrapped up in their past that they stay in shame to who they were, right? Or he keeps them so wrapped up in their future that they're disconnected. And both of them are they're anxious for the future. They're worried about the future. They want the future now, right? And it goes on to say that both of them are rob you of the joy, the contentment, and where life is really happening is in the here and now, in the little day-to-day commitments, right? And so I, like you, OK Hip Hop, have aspirations to buy a home, to pay off a home, to get to the next place in my career, to hit the next threshold or whatever, right? And if we over consume and overthink about those things, you will be robbed of the joy and the contentment you have right now. So godliness is about being in the present. Godliness is about controlling the variables you can't control. Godliness is about being faithful with what God has given you, the time, talent, and treasure right now. Godliness is about you being a great, faithful employee, right? And honoring your job and the perspective you have of your job to be like, yo, your job is your venture capitalist, right? Like they are your venture capitalist, right? Like they are your angel investor. They're giving you the opportunity to make good money so you don't have to live out of a car or live off of somebody's couch, right? While you get to build your business on the side. And I think the biggest variable for being successful, obviously, is God. 1, 2, it's for having some type of plan on how you're going to monetize and diversify your revenue streams. And then 3, I think, is access and just relationships and conversations like this. Having somebody that is maybe a season ahead of you, right? Meaning that I don't feel like I'm like this massively successful Grammy Award. Like I'm not. Like I'm just in a spot where I'm just a season ahead of you, right? Like I'm making a living off of my art. I'm not making millions off of my art, but I'm making a living off of my art. And so I think those are the 3 variables. And I feel like you're fairly tapped in. I don't know your day-to-day work ethic, okay? You know what I'm saying? But I think you grind because you make dope beats. And so if you do the day-to-day stuff, you have access to people who are in the next season to ask questions like this. And then now be thinking about monetization. How do you monetize the different revenue streams so that it's not just one thing doesn't have to work out, right? Because back in the day, producers the only way you could make it as a producer 10, 15 years ago was if you landed placements. That was literally the only way in. You had to get placement. Now, that's not the thing anymore. You could work on placements. You can work on a BeatStars page. You could work on a YouTube page. You could do sound kits. You could do your own, your own merchandise. There's all kinds of different revenue streams. So because you might be like, yo, I gotta get placements. But you blow up on BeatStars. Or you're like, yo, I gotta get popping on BeatStars. But God dropped some crazy merch idea on you that every single producer wants to buy your t-shirt, and now you're selling thousands of t-shirts a day, right? It's like Bartholomew Jones. I don't mean to just go back to him, but like Coffee Black, he thought it was going to be coffee that was going to create a full-time income, but it was a t-shirt that did it. Like it was a t-shirt that hit, and the t-shirt exploded, and then people came back and checked out his coffee and partnered with his coffee, and now he has massive press and he's successful. So it's like you just never know what that thing is gonna be, right? For me, in my head, it was always this linear, like I'm gonna do music, and then I'm gonna get popping for music, and it was like, nope, God gave me YouTube, and I'm more recognized for YouTube, and I'm more successful in YouTube than I've ever been in music. I have to be intuitive and tap into that. So the day-to-day grind is how you find contentment, like joy in the day-to-day thing, and knowing that any type of wealth, any type of business, anything that's sustainable is going to be done little by little. Wealth, over time, little by little, is going to be how you sustain yourself, not an overnight, I'm just going to take the plunge and go move to LA and sleep on couches and hope I bump into Kendrick Lamar and get on his next album. Like, can that happen for some people? Sure, right? But the likelihood is that it's going to be a much slower, little by little, daily commitments. And over time, you'll look up and you'll be like, wow, 5 years from now, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd be here. And then 10 years from now, you never thought you'd be there. And then, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Hopefully that's helpful, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's a great question. I think, and those are two good passages, guys. If you're struggling with this stuff, if you're struggling with contentment, like really sit with these two passages: 1 Timothy 6, verse 6 through 11, and Proverbs 13:11. And I'll read you guys another translation because I think this is just such a good like proverb. Wealth from get-rich-quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. The NIV says, dishonest money dwindles away. Get-rich-quick schemes, right? But whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Like, do y'all know that your money can grow for you? That your money can work for you, right? And then the ESV says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. That's really crazy to think about, that like gathering little by little will position you to increase it and make your money work for you. And I think talent, career, all those things are exactly the same way. So great question, man.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes out of I erase. Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this.